else, hey, and help people. So now let's have a look at our pre-exam study, which is our kind of week-to-week preparation we need to do. This will obviously depend on what degree you're doing, because if you're doing a engineering degree, your weekly work is going to look very different to someone doing an arts degree, for instance, or fine arts degree for that matter, a practical arts degree. So when you get into it, the first thing you kind of want to do at the start of the week is think of stuff that is reliant on preparation. And now what that means is things to do before a lecture or a seminar. Generally, it'll be something like reading. Reading pages from a textbook or an article from an academic database or something like that. They can range from anywhere between heaps. I definitely got into reading that was 80 pages once, to something quite nice and short, depending. It is ideal that you do that reading, but you shouldn't harass yourself over it. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. What that means is that when you have a reading and it's 80 pages long, don't beat yourself up if you don't understand half of it. Your pre-lecture, pre-seminar, pre-lab work is about giving your foundation so that you're not lost in the lecture. Your readings, your whatevers should make more sense after you've been to your lecture. Now, you may be thinking, well, isn't that kind of counterintuitive? Why wouldn't I do the reading after I've done the lecture? Won't that make more sense? Technically, you're correct. Like, yes, you will understand. It will be easier to do the reading after you've done the lecture, but then you'll be lost in the lecture. And the best way to go about it is do your reading, take some notes, write some questions down, do the lecture, and then look back on your notes. If you want to, you can reread the reading. I wouldn't. But that will allow you to kind of get some context, and then you're able to go, okay, now I kind of understand it. So that's your pre-lecture or seminar or whatever. Then you move into your pre-tutorial or lab or whatever work. That work is generally going to be practice examples, looking at some questions, that type of stuff. So whether that is, here's a maths problem, please solve it before class so we can discuss it, even if it's just like an optional thing. It could be, here are the 4 questions we're discussing today, have a think about them, all that type of stuff. That work is best done before the tute or the lab or whatever, because then again, you'll be prepared. It's best done after the lecture because you'll have that kind of background knowledge now. So it allows you to kind of actively build your knowledge as the week goes by. Now, how you then go about finishing that up is you want to go back and consolidate that work you've completed that week. The additional work you might need to complete is you might have a quiz that week or something, and it might be worth like 3% or whatever. I know things that are worth a small amount, we'll get to that in a second, seem silly to do. I would highly recommend you do them. If only to take, even if you can't, like if you logically understand that it's really good to build that knowledge and even if it's, that it's important to intentionally do that work and imbue that knowledge in yourself, make sure you do those 3% quizzes, just because 3% is easy marks, basically. If only for something, think about that, right? If you can't see the benefit in general, or you don't feel like it. And I get it. Sometimes it's like 3% is like, oh, come on, why would I do that? It's such a waste. But it's a good one to have there. So the other thing is then at the end of the week, you've probably done some readings, some practice questions or quizzes or something, and maybe a little mini assignment in the form of 3 marks, something or other. What you will then need to do is either at the end of the week, at the end of the week after, or at a point where there is a natural kind of pause in the content you're going through, what you want to do is then go for consolidating. Now, what consolidating means is going to be really dependent on what you want to do. For me, it's like every couple of weeks, like every 2 weeks, is kind of just like moving my notes from Craft, which is an app that I like it. It's pretty. I like it. It's kind of like Notion, but better. Moving it to a Word doc and rewriting notes so that they're clean and crisp and can be my study notes. So yeah, I have 2 separate sets of notes. That's what I just find works for me, because I like to stream of consciousness in class, but that's not really good for online, like for exams. It just needs a bit more order for it. So I do that every couple of weeks, like 2 weeks. If you're studying a science, for instance, you may not be able to summarize things as easily as that. It might be more of a, I need to write down some key formulas, some key info, and then just keep doing practice papers. That is all practice questions. That is also totally fine. What matters is that you want to continually be, even though, because what you basically do at the start of every week is you're looking forward to the week. You want to also make sure you're looking back every now and again. Your end of term exam will generally test you on everything except for whatever the midterm tested you on. So it is important that you are aware of what has been happening, because otherwise you're just going to like get to the exam and be like, oh, I don't remember that week 2 stuff. So it's really important that you keep looking back as well as looking forward. So yeah, I had two very separate structures of notes, which also helped me get from like general class mode into, studying mode.